We're on. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are on, and we are going to be talking everything Putin, everything war, everything civil war, and everything involving the Red Heifers. Now, I know that's going to sound a little bit abstract about the Red Heifers, but guys, it is all happening right now. You don't need to look around anywhere. You can see this with your real eyes. You can see this with your own eyes at real time. But before we start, guys, can you make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit those bell notifications? I've not been on for a while, so I've been traveling in Europe, looking for another place to live, looking for a potential bug out zone. I did contemplate Luxembourg. I don't think Luxembourg is going to be the place. But anyway, guys, we are back. We're here, and we are now. Protests all over the country, and these are going to be now. Look, guys. Let's just address the elephant in the room straight away. If you live in the United Kingdom, you must have been living under a cave, under a rock, in a cave. If you haven't been following the trial of Ricky Jones. Now, guys, this is absolutely wild. All right, this is wild. Okay, let me get this up on the screen. Actually, let me get this up on the screen, and then I'll just read through it. I'll just read through it for you guys. Let me make this. In fact, put that onto that screen as well. So I'm going to briefly talk about the trial of Ricky Jones. All right. So Ricky Jones, this guy, he was a suspended Labour and we need to understand what comes next, guys, because nothing good comes from this. Ricky Jones suspended. Oh, guys, there's so much been happening, and then you've got the migrant who was trying to get into this. The allegedly, all right, speculatively, the migrant. Who, I mean, have you seen him? He's got he looks like somebody else that we know, and he had that look in his eye. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Put it in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. So we've got this. Let's go on to Ricky Jones. Sorry, guys, there's so much information I'm trying to throw out there. Right, Ricky Jones. We started with Ricky Jones, so we'll finish first. So the trial of Ricky Jones, guys, okay? So let's cast our minds back to why people were protesting last year. It triggers me every time I think about it, guys. It triggers me every time I think about those little. I'm just going to leave it there, guys. All right, I'm not going to trigger myself, but it does every time I think about it. And then we've got this guy. Let's go talk about Lucy Conley first and Peter Lynch. All right, let's talk about those two. All right. Turned up to protests and got lengthy prison sentences. Well, I mean, Lucy Conley, she just wrote something online. She wrote, "For all I care, you can do something." I don't know the exact words, but I know the key phrase that I always look at, and I always think, right, is that inciting violence? Like, you can come to the barbecue for all I care. Is that inciting people to come to a barbecue? Just answer me that question, guys. Come on. Answer. If I said to you, you can come to my barbecue for all I care, would that be inciting you to come to my barbecue? You guys know where I'm going, right? Yeah. Now, if you're inciting something, you need to give a time, a date, and a location. So, come to my barbecue for all I care. Come to my barbecue next Friday at 2:00 at 10 Downing Street. Please come to my barbecue. You should come to my barbecue next weekend, next Friday, 2:00 at 10 Downing Street. You can come to my barbecue for all I care. I don't tell you where that barbecue is. I don't tell you what time that barbecue is. How can that be inciting violence? Anyway, so that's what Lucy Conley said. You can come to my barbecue for all I care. Ricky Jones, he said, and I'm just going to read this off Sky News, guys. I don't care if I get banned. I'm reading this now off a mainstream UK media outlet. So if I get banned, then I get banned. I'm just going to go straight onto YouTube. Ricky Jones, suspended Labour councillor who called for protesters' throats to be cut at a rally, not guilty of encouraging violent disorder. So there you go, guys. If you actually say, I want people to have something cut, That's not encouraging violent disorder. But maybe, do you know what? Do you know it's a good job he didn't say you can cut it for all I care, because if he did, that's obviously him in jail. Anyway, guys, look, Ricky Jones is not in jail. He's never going to see jail. He's going to get his job back. He's going to be empowered, and he's going to carry on. Now, let's think about the Manchester 2. So the Manchester 2, you know, the guys who had fisticuffs in Manchester Airport. What do we think, guys? Do we think those two guys are ever going to see the inside of a jail? I don't know. I would speculate not, but we're going to have to let the great legal system in the United Kingdom come to its decision and say either yes, they are guilty of assaulting police officers, or no, they're not guilty of assaulting police officers, and we're just allowing that. And guys, can you imagine if you're a police officer right now? Like, can you imagine if you are a police officer right now, guys? It's unbelievable. Come here. Little mosquito in here. Right. So, we'll come on to that afterwards. Peace deal, war agreements between Putin and Trump in Alaska. I mean, look, guys, I told you exactly, like last week, I told you what was going to happen. I did. I put it in the comments what I said. I said there's going to be no peace deal. There's going to be no peace agreement. There's going to be no clapping of hands. So here's the thing, guys. What was the real purpose of that meeting? What was the real purpose of that meeting? And if we understand what happens normally, the Friday after these world leaders meet, the Friday after, you get another big development. So I would speculate that next Friday, and I know I said this like last Friday or something, and I guess I was a Friday out because Ukraine has come into the front of everybody's media at the moment. So the next Friday after these world leaders meet, that's when you get the big development. That's when you get the big movement. That's when you get the big push. And guys, look, I keep saying this, okay? There's gonna be there's no hope. There's no hope. There's no chance, realistically, of a peace deal in Ukraine at the moment because the ground doesn't dictate it, and the ground dictates everything, guys. All right. Putin's. I'm going to be careful about what I say, guys. I'll talk more about. I'll talk more of it on. I'll talk more about this when I jump over to YouTube. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we are triple streaming again. I guess we're on as well. I've done my opening monologue. The final one, guys. I just want to get this out. I just want to get this talked about real quickly. Actually. Oh, that's conspiratorial. Hang on, guys. Huh. Right, okay. Right, so there's rumors that the Red Heifer ceremony has happened. Right, so there's rumors that the Red Heifer ceremony has taken place. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what I mean by the Red Heifer, again, it sounds peculiar, and it sounds, yeah, UK veterans, the Red Heifer, guys. I'll come into the comments in a minute. Yeah, the Red Heifer. In fact, hang on, let's just see what AI says. So, the Red Heifer is a ritual described in the book of Numbers in the Hebrew Bible, number 19. It involves the burning of a complete red heifer, which is it's got to be a perfect cow. As part of a purification ceremony, the ashes are then mixed with water and used to purify individuals or objects becoming ritually unclean. The ceremony is seen as a type of foreshadowing. Basically, what this means is this is kind of end of day stuff when we're talking about the Red Heifer, because once this ceremony of the Red Heifer has happened, that means there can be the building of the third Solomon's Temple, I think it is. Uh, Yeah, so some people believe. Look, guys, it's entirely up to you. Take this without however much salt you guys want. But these are things that are really happening. Some groups believe the Red Heifer ritual is necessary before the third temple can be built on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Now, this is the location where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is in the Middle East. And as far as the Muslim community are going, as far as the Muslim community, if this thing gets taken down to build a new, a new temple, that is, we're talking about biblical end of day stuff, guys. We really are. We're talking about biblical end of day stuff. Right, I'm going to jump up and get your comments, guys. Right, where are we? Right, let me start, and I will start from the beginning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Timsky. Good morning, Linda Lou. Linda Lou's saying you're on early. Yes, I am on early, guys. I was going to come on at 10. I was going to come on at my normal slot at 10. I've got so much to do, guys. I've got lots of stuff I'm working on behind the scenes. And you know what? I'm working on your gift. I'm still working on it, guys. I'm still working on your gift. So I thought I'd jump on early. I'll probably do a little bit longer than I normally do. But yeah, I am on early, guys. I'm working on your gift. And I hope to give that to the subscribers on... I'm still working on Friday, guys. I'm still working on being able to give that to you on Friday. Tim Skate is saying, cheap property, nice people here, mate. Je Po is saying, hi, hello, Sean. I was wondering when you were going to be live again about 10 minutes ago. Well, there you are. There you are, Joe. You think of the devil and he will arrive. Googly is saying, hello, Earth. Hello to you, Googly. Timsky's saying, lots for sale here in the mountains. Yeah, I think that's where I need to go. I went to Luxembourg. Now, Luxembourg, Luxembourg's a very peculiar place, guys. Fantastic architecture, fantastic castles, fantastic history. It's just too expensive. Everything's too expensive in Luxembourg. So that's we also went to Belgium and Germany. Again, just too expensive and not enough infrastructure. Tim's saying the system is disgusting. Dodsbra is saying, where have you been? Where have you been, lol? Been so much going on. Yes, there is. You're right, Dodsbra. I went looking for another house. We're looking overseas for another place to live. I do genuinely think, guys, that for me, it's either going to be Kiev or Texas. Silence is saying, morning, Sean. Jody Lee is saying, morning, everyone. Googly is saying, can't wait for a citizen to get jailed for some comment, but on anti-racist protesters. Look, guys, I am going to talk about it's had zero media coverage. The guy in the black and white checked, the guy in the black and white checkered hoodie who walked into the woman's flat or apartment. As I understand, 3 people have been arrested now. And guess what? He's not one of them. I will be coming on to that in a little bit. Google is saying, did you hear about the peace deal which has failed in Alaska? Yeah, we'll be talking about more about that later on today, guys. There was another reason for this meeting, guys. Believe me, all right, there was another reason for this meeting. Obviously, I don't know what the other reason for that meeting was, but if you're not going to come to an agreement, okay, so you've got to come. Let me pin this. So Googly's comment is, did you hear about the peace deal which has failed in Alaska? So what you've got to understand, guys, when these world leaders go to these meetings, all the stuff that they're going to talk about and agree on happens behind the scenes anyway. It happens through the embassies. It happens through not unofficial chains, basically. People close to Trump, people close to Putin, they talk and then they tell Putin, and Putin says yes or no, and then Trump says yes or no, then they go back to each other. So even before this meeting was scheduled, the outcome was agreed, if that makes sense. So what the real meeting will have been is the Trump's military attaches, Trump's military advisors, Putin's military advisors, Putin's military attaches, those guys that will have gone with them with that entourage, that was the real meeting. So it makes no sense to have this big meeting where it's going to be a big peace summit. It makes no sense to have this big peace summit and you don't declare something afterwards. So the question is, and it's an open question, guys, I don't know the answer because I wasn't there behind the scenes. What was the real meaning of that meeting? I would speculate that the real meaning of that meeting was, right, Trump, don't get involved in Ukraine or Europe. Okay. Vlad, don't get involved in the Middle East. Okay. I would speculate it went something like that. Dodsbra is saying, how much longer can everyone tolerate this? Yeah, I think Dodsbra is talking about how, guys, I'll jump onto the YouTube comments in a minute. I always prioritize TikTok comments in the morning. Dodsbra is saying, how much longer can everyone tolerate this? Yeah, it's unbelievable, guys. In fact, let me get this one up because this is wild. This is like, when I was in Luxembourg, I was explaining to some of my friends out there. I was saying, look, guys, you've just had this guy break into, well, allegedly, because nobody's been charged. Rumors of a gentleman breaking. In fact, I don't even know what I can say. Let me see what I can say. Right. So I'm just going to read you this, guys. I'm going to read you this. Migrant staying at Canary Wharf Hotel arrested. Oh, he's been arrested after walking into a blind woman's home. Just contextualize that for a minute, guys. Just contextualize how bad this almost went. Just think how bad these things could have gone, guys, okay? So if you guys can remember, there was already an attack that's been stopped at the first in Cardiff at the Oasis concert. There was an attack that had been foiled. Hang on, guys, give me a second. So there was already an attack that was foiled at the Oasis concert in Cardiff. That was foiled. That was going to be, somebody, and then somebody. That was foiled. Now, I'm going to read you this from the Standard, guys. This is from the Standard. This is from mainstream media, all right? So when the algorithm blocks me and I have to appeal afterwards, I'm reading from open source social media that anyone can read, okay? This is from an article from the Standard that was published. When was this published? I don't know. When was this published? Anyway, it was published recently, within the last couple of days. So this is an article from the Standard, guys. Migrant staying at Canary Wharf Hotel arrested after walking into a blind woman's flat. Met police say woman, 22, separately charged with assaulting a security guard at the Britannia Hotel after threatening him. So this is the scenario right now, guys, okay? We have got a scenario right now like that could, you guys can see how bad this could have gone, right? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? This could have, and that guy that was, that walked into that flat, you guys have all seen, as I have, and I don't know if there's any truth to them. I think that I believe there is, but I can't confirm or deny it. You guys have seen that he was trying to get into other houses as well. So how often is this happening? How often are people walking around just trying door handles? Guys, it's honestly what was he doing trying to get in there? Was he looking for the toilet? Was he looking for something to eat? Is that how you roll in his country where he came from? Was he fleeing persecution? So he's fleeing persecution, and now he wants to come and sit in your like. Well, like, what are you supposed to do now, guys? Like, what are you supposed to do if honestly, serious question, guys, serious question. What are you wanting to do right now, guys? What are you supposed to do if a migrant walks into your house? Are you supposed to just like, oh? Do you know what, guys? I'll tell you what. You know what we're supposed to do, I think? I think everybody needs to get their house deeds in their house. And if a migrant comes into your house, you go down on one knee, sign over your house, give it him and walk out. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I think that's what the government want you to do, guys. I really do. It's unbelievable. And look, guys, I will speculate this right now. If that girl, the 22-year-old girl, if she hadn't gone as bonkers as she did, I think there would be white tents around that house right now, and people would be saying, stand up to racism, and Keir Starmer would give a lot more money to protecting mosques. I think that's what, honestly, guys, I think we were so close to that happening, but no crime's being committed. No crime's being committed. Everything's fine. You're not arrested. Do you understand what I'm saying here, guys? Do you understand what I'm saying? Unbelievable, guys. Absolutely unbelievable. Can you imagine if that girl had not been there? So that's the scenario we're at. And as I understand it, 2 men have been arrested as well. Let me go down and read. A migrant has been arrested but not charged. He was released after bursting into a blind woman's home in East London. Wow. The man in his early 20s had been followed by a group of men in the street when he entered the flat. Oh, so I don't know. Do we have any evidence of him being followed on the street? Do we have any evidence of that? Like, and we've got to contextualize this as well, guys. We've got to contextualize this. You know, he was seen, allegedly, there's a lot of open source social media talking about this. There's a lot of pictures of him walking around, trying to, other places in that area. So he was already walking around trying, allegedly. So, guys, I need to be careful when I'm on TikTok. You guys know the code. So there's open source social media. Open source social media has been claiming that there were previous reports of this gentleman trying other people's door handles. That's what's out there on open source social media. There are police crime reference numbers being released. There's pictures of a gentleman who to me looks the same, certainly wearing the same clothes, but he's got the hood up, so I can't confirm if it is or is not him. But that's it now, guys. So migrants can come into your house, and it's totally fine. It's totally fine. And this is kind of the problem, guys. Like, we have got a situation coming, and I keep saying this, where the police won't protect us, but we're not allowed to protect ourselves. Do you see where I'm going with that, guys? Do you see how ludicrous that is? The police in the UK won't protect us, but they won't let us protect ourselves. So we have got, and I've said this lots of times, we're going to have this situation, this dystopian scenario where we've got a police force, and everybody pretends that we have a police force, but no one's really paying attention to the laws, and people are kind of doing whatever they want to do. I'm talking about like the first Mad Max. Anyway, right, let me jump and get these comments, guys, after I just went on a massive side quest. Sean McKay, thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much, Sean McKay, for subscribing. Listen, guys, to the subscribers, you all need to have subscribed by Friday. I'm working on something for you guys, and I'm going to give it you on Friday. I think I'm going to have to do a subscribers only. I think I'm going to have to do, I'll try and do a subscribers only live stream, but I've got a gift for each and every, do you know what? And it's not just a gift for each of the subscribers. It's a gift that you can share with your families as well. And I believe it will keep you safe. Right. Where was we going on that? Right. Let me get the, Yeah, Google it is saying HMRC sacked dozens of staff for snooping on taxpayers. Yeah, this happens, guys. This happens all over the system where people have access to people's files. They abuse them. They, you may or may not know someone, and you want to have a look what they're, you want to have a look into their financials or whatever. Yeah, I believe it happens. Well, it clearly does because HMRC are saying it does, and they've sacked a lot of staff. UK veterans are saying hello, UK veterans. UK veterans is saying the red what? So, ladies and gentlemen, the reports are in that the Red Heifer ceremony has happened. Now, if you don't know what that means, I think I'll do a dedicated live stream to that. So, the Red Heifer is part of a ceremony which leads to the building of Solomon's third temple in Jerusalem. On the current location of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Now, in the Muslim world, this is going to send those guys absolutely crackers. UK veterans are saying, did notice the Raptors lined up along the red carpet yesterday? Yeah, guys, listen. So this the Trump Putin meeting. What was the real agenda there, guys? What was the real agenda? Because it certainly wasn't peace. UK veterans are saying loads of farms for sale here in Wales. You see, the thing is, guys, I want to get out of the UK. I really do want to get out of the UK. So I love Wales. I love those Welsh people, and I love how the little Welsh people talk. And I love, oh, Sean, you come here, Sean. Where to? Where are you? You see those two houses? Mine's the middle one. Google is saying Prince and Princess Wales moving to a new home. Good. Where are they moving? I don't know. Lady Trace is saying, think he was arrested after a second incident of assault, not that house incident. So there we have. So Lady Trace, are we? So I think we're talking about the migrant here that was arrested. So Lady Trace, can you confirm that? So Lady Trace on YouTube is saying, not on YouTube, on TikTok is saying, think he was arrested after a second incident of assault, not the house. So are we saying that this guy, like that day, he was trying lots of people's door handles. He then got into somebody's house and then he assaulted someone. Is that what we're saying? I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what we're saying. I'm asking a question. Linda Lou is saying, I had someone walk in my back door, so scary, but my German Shepherd chased him out. Look at it. Linda Lou, what do you mean you had someone walking? Listen, guys, I'm getting scared right now. I'm terrified because, like, you know what? You know when you go to the gym or like when you leave the kids in the house and you're like, I won't be back. I'm just going to be an hour. Can you imagine, guys, look. Can you imagine how bad this could have gone? Are you guys with me right now? Are you guys with me or am I just talking on my own? Are you guys with me? Can you imagine if this guy had have walked into a house and there had been two little girls just playing, mum's just nipped out to the shop, or if he's watching somebody's house and he thinks, that's a single mum there with two kids. I'm going to wait till the mum goes to the shop and then I'm going to go and knock on the door and say, this is my house now. Or I don't know. Maybe he just wants a little tea party with the girls. Lady Tracy is saying, if the daughter wasn't there, I'd say they'd be a friend. Yeah, exactly. I must have seen your comment, Lady Tracy. I said pretty much exactly the same. Lady Tracy is saying, if the daughter wasn't there, I'd say there would be a forensic tent up. He had no pure intentions. Yeah, guys, look, can anybody just help me out here? Can anybody help me out? Wow. Okay, guys, I've just got a comment here on YouTube. I'm going to pin this on YouTube. I will always. Right. Okay. So Carol Easton on. Wow, guys, this is absolute. Guys, I need to caffeinate myself. Carol Easton is saying that this gentleman who went into the lady's house got arrested later that evening for a second assault. He got arrested for common assault in the early hours of the morning. So, like, what was he wanting to do? Guys, Do you guys see how close we are right now? Do you see how close we are? Because I don't believe, no matter what culture you're from, I don't believe that you follow a woman, any woman. You just don't do it, guys. You don't do it. I don't care what culture. In fact, you know what? I'm going to ask a question. In what culture, in what part of the world is it totally okay for you to follow a stranger into their house? I don't know. I'm going to leave that open, guys. It's an open question. In what, and I'm going to say it, guys, in what backward culture? Because it's certainly not a civilized one. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. Yeah, Lady Trace, I don't know if you're still on, Lady Trace, but I totally agree with what you're saying. I must have seen your comments subconsciously because I pretty much said exactly what you're saying there, Lady Trace. Right, the comments are going crackers on YouTube, TikTok at the moment, guys. Give me a second. Lady Trace is saying, get a good dog for protection or a crocodile. Yeah, some sharks with laser beams. Snowdrops is saying, I heard the men followed him after he went to the flat. Look, guys, with this migrant, is it me or does anybody feel this could have gone like a totally different way right now? Is it just me and Lady Trace? Is it just me and Lady Trace who's thinking there could have been forensic tents outside? And look, guys, please. If you're watching this channel, you take things I say with a pinch of salt and you think, oh, Sean doesn't know what he's talking about. Sean doesn't know this. Sean doesn't know that. Look at what's just happened, guys, all right? I mean, you know, he could have probably gone in there. I'm not even going to speculate. I'm going to wait till I'm on YouTube. Right, let me come down. Snowdrops is saying, I heard the men followed him after he went into the flat. He was followed after by them. She would call for help. It's video filmed being twisted badly to suit. Yeah, it's being twisted badly to suit. Like, you know these like stand up to racism protesters? Like, are they pro people going into other people's house? Honestly, guys, like, it's unbelievable. I wonder if she'd have stayed put in the house rather than chased. They may have looked different. I agree, Lady Trace, 100%. Reminds me of Tony Martin. I was thinking he was called. He was hounded and retaliated to the max. Did you watch the UFC, Sean? No, I didn't. Who won? Did Duplessis win? What's his name? Jomase Po. I did not watch the UFC, but can you please give me a spoiler? Let me know who won. Lady Tracy is saying he tried many doors before hers too. Assault was the day after, I believe, unrelated. So can you how? I'm just going to leave it there, guys. I don't think you guys need me to speculate anymore on what could have happened. I don't think you guys need me to speculate on what his intentions were. Right, it's tomorrow. I thought it was no, it's tonight, isn't it? Sorry guys, my days are all mixed up. Yeah, sorry guys. The UFC's tonight. I'm pinning. I do want Duplessis to win, but I think both of those guys are phenomenal fighters. I think they're both great. I respect them both. I do want Duplessis to win. He's up. He's up against a tough fighter. UK veterans. In fact, here's one. Lady Trace is saying, had they arrested and questioned him, he wouldn't have been free to assault. No, he wouldn't have been free to assault. But this is the problem in the UK. We have a scenario where, let's just say, last year before the Southport incident happened, let's just say two lads saw this guy. They questioned him. They said, why have you got a bag of those implements? A fight broke out and those two guys beat him up. Guess which two guys would be in jail? There'd be a lot of there'd be little girls still alive, but those two guys would be in jail now. You see how absurd it is, guys? And look, I think this is going to be a mantra. I think this needs to be a mantra of this channel. The police will not protect us, but they won't let us protect ourselves. I'm happy. I'm more than happy, guys, to I'm more than happy to mobilize and to unify, train, administer, protect. I'll do all that stuff for free in my local community. But the problem is, I'm not allowed to do that. Legally, we are not allowed to protect ourselves. We're not allowed to do that. But the police won't come and protect us either. UK veterans is AJ is saying the UK has gone to the dogs. Yes, it has. UK veterans are saying we are so close. The fuse has been laid in a dry environment, ready for a spark. It is indeed. Google is saying he's going back to Mars. Sean, I can go live now. Do you want to come on the live? Google it. Google it. Send me an inbox if you want to come on the live, or you want to share. I don't know. Just send me an inbox. Lady Trace is saying he's the twin of that other. Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? April Lee saying, morning, have I missed much? Right, guys, I'm going to give you guys a quick recap of what we're talking about. I'm almost at the bottom of the TikTok comments, and I'll jump over to YouTube. But ladies and gentlemen, if you've not done so, can you like, comment, subscribe, bell notification? We're triple streaming again this morning, so we're back. We're going to be streaming twice a day. I think I'm going to try and get on 3 times today, guys, because I do need to do a lot of catch up. Can you guys please hit those buttons? It really does help me out, guys, all right? We're on YouTube, we are on TikTok, and we are on X. We're simultaneously streaming. We are simultaneously streaming, guys. And can you share my stuff? That is like, for the algorithm, it's like a little touch of your fantastic fingers, guys. But if you could share my stuff on your socials and just click the screens, guys, and do all that stuff, because it really helps me out. You guys have seen how many times I get banned, how many times I get restricted, how many times I get kicked off the multiple platforms, and sometimes I just feel like I'm talking in code. So what we'll do is we'll continue on this channel, and then we'll jump over to YouTube and X, where we can have a little bit more of an open chat. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, for you guys who've subscribed, for the subscribers, I have got a gift that I'm going to be giving away next, this Friday, actually. This Friday coming, I believe. I hope it's going to be this Friday. I think I'm going to be able to give it away this Friday. I'm working on something, and I'm going to give that to the subscribers. I will give it out to everyone. But you guys will understand when I give it you'll understand why I have to give it to the subscribers first, and then I'll let everybody have it afterwards. But subscribers are going to get something so cool coming. Well, I believe it's cool anyway. So sorry, April Lee, what have I missed? We have been talking about the Trump-Putin peace negotiation, the Trump-Putin peace talks that didn't have any peace. So what was the real purpose of that meeting? We have got civil war coming to the United Kingdom, guys. My speculation, my analysis, and my opinion would be of that, guys, while we're on TikTok. And when we jump over to YouTube, we'll talk a little bit more freely. So we've got the trial of Ricky Jones. The trial of Ricky Jones, guys. So he's not guilty. Now, he's claiming that wasn't his intent. That when you say you need to do something to, I'm just going to read it, guys. I don't care if I get banned, because I'm literally reading now from open source social media, guys, okay? Open source mainstream media, actually, not social media. So I'm reading this from Sky News, so when the algorithm swizzles me, bedizzles me, I'm just going to tell you that I'm reading off open source, mainstream media. So this is from an article posted by the Sun News on Friday the 15th of August. Ricky Jones, suspended Labour councillor who called for I forgot to read. Article from the Sun newspaper, Friday the 15th of August. Ricky Jones, suspended Labour councillor who called for protesters' throats to be cut at rally, not guilty of encouraging violent disorder. So there we go, guys. He's not guilty. So he's not guilty. And then you can't not, because this all happened around like you've got to understand the temporal dynamics of this. When all this stuff was happening, what was happening in the United Kingdom when this was happening. Now, to incite something, look, guys, this is my understanding, right? Now, to incite something, I believe you've got to give a time, a place, and a date. For example, Lucy Cogney said, "You can do something for all I care." That's her inciting. That's her incitement. That's her claim to incitement. Now, again, not a legal expert. Don't claim to be a legal expert. If I was to incite you to a barbecue, let's just say, okay, you can come to my barbecue for all I care. Where is your barbecue? When is your barbecue? And at what date? I guess time and date. You know, you can't just say turn up Tuesday. So, like, that would be an incitement to a barbecue. For example, if I said, will please come to my barbecue. Everybody come to my barbecue. That's the invitation. That's the incitement. At 10 Downing Street, that's the location, on Friday at 2:00. That is an incitement for everyone to come to my barbecue. If I say, you can all come to my barbecue for all I care, where is it? When is it? There's no incitement there. But yeah, so it's all this stuff pushed into this powder keg. And listen, you know the Manchester fisticuffs 2? Like, what do we think, guys? What do we think about the Manchester 2 fisticuffs? Do we think they're ever going to see the inside of a jail? Do we ever think they're going to see the inside of a prison cell? I do not. I do not, guys. I do not think they're ever going to see the inside of a prison cell. What I actually think is going to happen is the police officer who made the initial arrest, I think he's going to get sued, and I think he's going to lose his job, and I think they're going to get compensation because actually they're the victims. Right, guys, let me go up and get the rest of these comments. UK Veterans is saying, did you hear about the copycat guy whose attack was foiled? Yeah, I did. So there was a copycat. There was a guy, a copycat who wanted to be a copycat of the Southport attacks. Guys, look, we are so close right now. We've had 2 big events foiled. I believe we've had 2 big events foiled. All right. One of them was foiled by a 22-year-old girl, and she's been arrested now for stopping it. Just listen to those words again, guys. Let me pin this. UK Veterans is saying, did you hear about the guy? Did you hear about the copycat whose attack was foiled? Yes. So there was another guy who was wanting to do a copycat attack, like the Southport incident. But this guy, he had pictures of like a girl's dance studio on his phone and routes to and from it, and he'd already bought the implements online. So it's just unbelievable, guys. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, now the question is this, ladies and gentlemen. The question is this: do we think that there are any more of those people who are planning said events? Do we think there are any more of those people, any more people planning those said events, guys? That is the question I'm asking you. Or do we think that that was the one person who was planning, that was the one copycat guy? Do we think that was the one copycat guy? Unbelievable. April Lee saying, did you have a nice trip? April Lee, I was working. UK Veterans is saying 2-tier justice system. April Lee says Manchester 2 will be next. Slap wrist and 1 not guilty. Joma Port is saying, I just bought a new CCTV camera system and getting it all set up now. Look, guys, if somebody, I'm just going to give you guys some security advice. the biggest deterrence for any opportunist criminal is cameras, guys. It is cameras, all right? 100%, guys, all right? It is a camera system. Now, what I will say about those cameras is if somebody's on intent on doing you harm and they don't care if they get caught or not, the cameras are not going to work, guys. So you do need physical deterrence. But for opportunist criminals, CCTV cameras are the biggest deterrent, guys. They are the biggest deterrent because you can imagine now, you're a criminal, you're walking the streets, you're trying door handles. Are you going to walk up to the house that's got cameras like looking at you? No, of course not. You're going to go to the next house because these people, these criminals, they want to find easy targets and they want the easy target. They want the easy win. They want the easy money. Jumase Paul's got 4 cameras. Right, Jumase Paul, try and get every aspect of your property and focus on your entry points. UK Veterans is saying we having, I think it's about spit roast Kia. Yeah, maybe spit. April Lee saying, yes, of course. I don't know what that's in response to, April Lee. Yes, of course. Yeah, April Lee is saying, have you heard about these houses that are, let me pin this. So April Lee is saying, have you heard about these houses that are receiving food, etc., and no one's living in there? So I've heard it, and guys, look, I've got to be clear. I've seen no evidence of it, right, guys? I've seen no evidence of it. I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm saying I've seen no evidence of it. What I also didn't see any evidence of is the government flying in foreign soldiers from Afghanistan in secret flights. I didn't see that. Google it. Can you send me an inbox message and talk about what we're and put about what we're going to talk about, mate? Google it. Send me an inbox message and we'll come on later because I've got a lot to get through. But Google it. Where's Google it? Hang on. Google it just sent me a request to come on the live. Google it. Can you send me an inbox, mate? Google it. Can you send me an inbox and we'll talk about what we're going to talk about, and then we'll do a live stream later on today because I've literally got an hour and then I've got just over an hour and then I've got to shoot. If you could do that, Google it. We'll do a dedicated live to what subjects we agree or we talk about. Where are we? Yeah, so I didn't see any evidence of those people flying in on secret aircraft, but guess what? That's happened. Which also brings me on to, the rumors of people, bringing in these crates of, AK and a certain number. I've said many times that I feel this is unlikely, but now if we're talking about these things at, at the level that we are, where governments are actively helping, then nothing's off the cards, guys. Nothing's off the cards. So April Lee is saying, they're talking about all these, April Lee's talking about all these things that, all this food that's been, sent into houses, what's it for? I guess we don't know. Maybe they're just repackaging it and selling it on. I don't know. Criminal, Aline Hamilton is saying they're criminals. They just put balaclavas on so you can't identify them. April Lee saying went school for exam results and nothing about extra lockdown drills. I think this is very I think this will come from your local council. And 4 pauses saying, keep tapping the screen, guys. Right, Google it. Is Google still on here? Because I want Google it to talk about what we're doing with the live. Right, and J King is asking to co-host. Right, guys, I'm getting lots of requests from people to co-host. I will 100% co-host with Google it. But guys, look, you need to send me on into the inbox what we're actually going to be talking about. DS DS, you need to send me an inbox as well, mate. DS is asking, look, guys, all the people that are asking to co-host, yes, I'm saying I will co-host with you. I will debate with you if you want to go the opposite side of debates and you want to say, actually, these people in the hotels, they're fleeing persecution and it's full of women and children. I'm totally happy with that, guys. I'm happy, whatever you guys want to do, but please send me an inbox message first so we can talk about what we're going to say. We'll identify a time, we'll advertise it, and we'll go for it. But please inbox me first, guys, if we're going to do sharing and stuff, if we're going to do sharing. April Lee is saying, I'm happy to be a mod for you. It's not the mod because people have been well behaved. It's just the people that are jumping on, trying to. It's just people that are jumping on. I don't know what we're going to talk about, and I would like to get a heads up because I don't want somebody jumping up and ranting or standing there holding something that they shouldn't be. Right, Lincolnshire Templar over on YouTube is saying, are you watching any particular protest later? Look, guys, there's lots of stuff. I don't know. I want to go to one. I want to go to one and live stream from one of the protests. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I don't know whether it's better if I stay here and I can have multiple feeds coming into me at the same time. I don't know whether I should go there. I don't know which is best, but I will be back on later, guys, and we will be covering it. Yes, or whatever's happening, we will be covering it. Right. Philip Gray is saying, I've got kids, and it's in capital letters. Philip Gray is saying, I've got kids. If the police won't protect us, I will do whatever is necessary. Yeah, sounds like a Christopher Nolan film. Look, guys, this is the problem that we're in right now. The police are not protecting us, but they're not letting us protect ourselves. I would be more than happy. I would be more than happy to say to all the young men around my area, like, I don't know, how would you do it? You'd say, right, young men around who live in your local area, if you work off Dunbar's number, and I would close that. What I do, guys, what I would do is I would find the natural choke points to where I live. I know them anyway. There's two, maybe three roads you can close off where I live, and you would. Hang on, guys, I need to press something on the screen. So what I would do, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what, like, I believe this is where it's coming, guys. I really believe this is where it's coming in the United Kingdom. I really believe this is where it's going in the where it's going and where the direction of travel in the United Kingdom right now. So this is Philip Gray on YouTube, and he's saying, I've got kids. If the police won't protect us, I will do whatever is necessary. You know, the police aren't clear. It's clear, guys. The police are not protecting us, and they're not letting us protect ourselves. You know, if anything, the police are stopping us from protecting ourselves. Let me just give you the scenario. I've given this a long, like, it's easy to visualize it. Imagine, imagine you live on a street and you live at number 50 on that street. And right down at number 1, a load of trucks pull up. They're flying the black flags outside, and they break into a house, and you hear a load of screaming, and then everything goes quiet. And then they move to number 2 on that street, and you look and you think, oh, well, that's unusual, huh? And then you hear a load of screaming. It all stops. The guys come out. They move to house number 3. So you phone the police, and you tell the police what's happening. And the police say, well, can you confirm any crime has been committed? And you say, well, no, because it's in another house. And the police will say, well, until you can confirm a crime has been committed, we can't do anything. And people say, oh, okay. What do you recommend? And the police will say, we recommend you close your doors and windows and sit there. And if there is if there is a real crime, phone 999 or report it online. Oh, right, okay. So now you're watching the people get closer and closer. At what point are you allowed to actively defend yourself? And I don't know the answer to this, guys. I don't know the answer to this. At what point are you actively allowed to defend yourself. And by actively, I mean, at what point are you allowed to? So, okay, so in the military, if you was fighting with the bad guys, rather than wait for them to come and attack you, you would find out where they sleep and neutralize them. Real easy, real easy. Wait till they're asleep, neutralize them when they're asleep. You have minimum losses, you have maximum impact, and you move like ghosts. All you leave is empty case. I can't say what I was going to say. When I go onto YouTube, I'll say the only thing you leave. So, at what point can people take active measures to protect themselves? And I don't know the answer to that, guys, but at some point I do think it's going to come. So you can imagine now the scenario where people are trying to defend themselves and the police are arresting those people who are trying to defend themselves. Oh, no, you're not allowed to defend yourself in this country. You've got to phone the police. Yeah, but you don't come. Ah, yes, that's because we're overworked. Well, let me defend myself. So here's what I do, guys. Here's what I do. Using Dunbar's number. You know what, guys? It wouldn't be Dunbar's number at all. It'd be a lot bigger. So I would close off the 3 local villages where we live. There's like 3 villages in relative proximity. And you can close off 3 roads and you stop all vehicle movements into those villages. So I would close off those 3 villages. And I would get all the men and we would just control entry and exit to our village, and that's how we would roll. That's the first step. And that's the most important step, guys. All right. Control access and egress. And if somebody was to say to me, Sean, you've got 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds, Sean. How can I protect my community? The first thing I would say is control access and egress. That might mean closing some roads down. It might mean saying, look, everyone, we're going to close this road. I don't know. We're going to close, John Street. We're going to close John Street. It's not going to be open. We're just going to put cars over it, tires. It's not going to be an entry point anymore. Nobody comes through John Street. We all come through West Street now. We've got a checkpoint on West Street. We can manage people coming in and out. And by doing that, it's a deterrence. You stop people coming in. And then I'd have roaming patrols. So you might need I don't know. I say you'd probably need 4 people on duty at night. You'd need 2 people for manning the checkpoint and then 2 people for a roving patrol. You've got to think about your manpower, your resources, your financing, what you can actually achieve. But I do think these times are coming, guys. I do. I think we're heading towards a Northern Ireland scenario in the United Kingdom, but Northern Ireland on vast amounts of creatine. Right. UK Veterans is saying, went to a Cardiff migrant hotel the other day, has had a course round the corner. No kids or women. Oh, surely not UK Veterans. I thought it was all women and children in these hotels. Sharon Owen is saying, good morning. Great to see you back. And good morning to you, Sharon Owen. Marie Gen X is saying, good morning. UK Veterans is saying, when it becomes self-defense. So I'm not talking about self-defense, guys. Let me click this back up again. I'm talking about active defense. So I'm talking about active defense. So self-defense would be where, and I know you can use a preemptive strike in self-defense law in the United Kingdom. So self-defense would be when somebody comes up to you and you think and you believe they're going to attack you. So you left, right, left hook them. All right. Trust me, guys, it's a killer combination. Left, right, left hook. Nobody expects that second left come in. So that would be self-defense. What I'm talking about now is active defense. So active defense would be finding where they're. Look, guys, I'm just saying that these things are coming. All right. Active defense would be where you actually think, right, okay, these people are mobilizing to come and get me. I'm going to neutralize that threat before it materializes. That would be active defense. Snowdrops is saying we should be taking the government to court for failing to protect its citizens. UK Veterans is saying, remember, reasonable force in self-defense. Yeah, reasonable force, but also minimum force. And minimum force can be minimum force can be lethal force, guys. It's the minimum force to achieve the desired outcome. Right, where was I going to go then? I can't remember where I was going to go. I was going to go off on a tangent then, but I can't remember what it was. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen. I'm going to jump off screen briefly and caffeinate myself. I will be on a little bit longer on YouTube, but I will be a little bit longer on TikTok, but I am going to stay streaming. Guys, I'm going to jump off screen. Can you guys do all those things that help this channel grow? Like, comment, subscribe, bell notification. If you're watching on TikTok, if you're watching on X, if you're watching on YouTube, can you hit the buttons below? Apple user 8564 requesting to join as a guest. Send me an inbox message first, and you can come on as a guest, guys. I don't mind. Please, guys, all right? If you want to come on and join as a guest, I'm totally fine with it. But please send me an inbox first. And if Google is still on, I don't know where Google is gone. If Google can send me an inbox message, in fact, I'll inbox you later, Google. And we'll try and do a dedicated live stream for that. Right, let me jump off screen, guys, and caffeinate myself, and then I'll come right back. Yeah. I thought I might have had a carbonated, caffeinated drink in the fridge, but I don't. Sorry, guys, I'm back. UK Veterans, did you find out what happened at Fazlane? So, as I understand, there was a nuclear incident. Let me just respond to this text, guys. Give me a second. So there was I'll get you up on the mainstream and then we'll talk about it. So there was a nuclear incident at Fazlane, and it came out category. So there was a category. I was going to say something else then. So there was a category A nuclear incident reported at Fazlane. Now this is the most. This is the biggest a Cat A nuclear incident. That is, as I understand it, that's the most severe incident that you can have. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to give some speculation on what this actually means. So, MOD urged to reveal details of nuclear incident at Fazlane. Figures show a Category A incident occurred at HMNB, Her Majesty's nuclear base, maybe, Clyde, home to the UK's nuclear submarines, between the 1st of January and the 22nd of April 2025. The Ministry of Defence is being urged to reveal details of the nuclear incident that took place. So all we know is a Category A nuclear incident took place. Sorry, a Category A nuclear event took place at Fazlane between, those date times. Now, I'm going to give some wild speculation on things that I believe could be connected. Now, we also had, the fire that broke out at in Harrow. Hang on. So the fire that broke out at Harrow. So the fire that broke out at Harrow, that was in that time frame as well. So if we set our minds back now, we had a lot of substations being set on fire around that time. We had the fire at Harrow, which is BAE Systems. So I'm thinking that all these things were connected, and there's been some sort of super injunction put on this so the press can't talk about it or whatever. I don't know. But, it doesn't seem good, does it? So a Category A event in the context of nuclear safety generally refers to an event with significant safety consequences involving the release of radioactive material or a failure of a safety system. The International Nuclear and Radiological Event Scale is used to classify events, with Category A typically responding to levels 4 and 7 on the scale, indicating accidents with local or wider consequences or even major accidents. So there we have it, guys. Nobody's telling us what it was, but I think it's connected to what was happening around that time. Things were getting set on fire. There was the fire in where was it? There was the fire in Harrow as well. Was it Harrow? Was it Harrow? The fire? There was basically the fire at BAE Systems. D-Marie Gen X is saying, what did I miss? Right, D-Marie Gen X, I'll give everyone a recap in a second. And Four Paws are saying 50,000. Yeah, we've hit 50,000. So we're an international live stream now, guys. I guess this will be pushed out to other people's. I'm not banned yet. And I'm not banned. I've not been taken down. UK veterans, well, I'm going to pin this because they put this. He's saying, I'm dealing with someone who I'm someone who deals with the weapons transportations up there. I'm waiting on him to get back to me. So we don't know what this was, guys. The government are hiding it from us. Like, I would speculate the government hide a lot of things from us. Don't you guys? Or do you guys think that the government don't hide things from us, if that makes sense? Right, so D-Marie Gen X is saying, what did I miss? So we have been talking about the peace. In fact, I think I need to talk about it a little bit more, actually. I've not done it as much as I should have. So the peace summit between Putin and the peace negotiations between Putin and Trump. I'm going to tell you what happened there. We've been talking about the prospect of war, civil war in the United Kingdom, the Red Heifer ceremony. I believe it's happened now. And are we living in biblical end times? There's a strong argument for it. Loz Luxford is saying they hide everything and constantly lie to us. See, the problem is when you start lying to people, they don't believe what you're saying. So when you're telling the truth, they don't believe you anyway. And what makes it worse, all the information is out there and it's readily available for everyone to see, everyone to understand, everybody and everybody can see this. So for example, I'm going to come on to Trump and Putin in a minute, guys. So for example, when the government are telling us that, like, all these migrants coming across on the boats, they're women and children. Yep, the government politician on a talk show, he actually said that. All these women and children are coming over on the boats because they're fleeing persecution in France. And when you actually see it with your own eyes and what you're seeing doesn't add up to what you're being told, you kind of start to cast doubt on what you're being told. And then you start to think, right, okay, if we've been lied to about this, what else have we been lied to about? And look, guys, I think I need to, be careful, everyone. We'll all get restricted. I need to be clear about this, guys. All right, I'm pro-military, I'm pro-police, I'm pro-government, I'm pro-law and order. I support the military, I support the police, I support the government as well. I support the legal system. The problem is, a lot of those things are not working how they should. Because it doesn't seem to me that we have a functioning legal system. I mean, how can we have a functioning legal system? How can we have a functioning legal system where women are in prison for tweets that were deleted, and men who are calling for people to You guys know what Ricky Jones did. Walk free with nothing. How is that the legal system, guys? How is that the legal system? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, so I need to, yeah. So I can't remember where I was caveating that. Yeah, sorry. So, and what I will say on, people talking about the government lying to people, the government do need to lie a little bit. And Sean, no, trust me, guys. All right, it is necessary, and it's necessary in a lot of circumstances. Like, do you think? I don't know. Do you think Karen, who works at John's Chippy, do you think Karen, who works at John's Chippy, needs to know exactly what British Special Forces are doing in different parts of the world? Do you think Karen needs to know that? No, of course she doesn't need to know that. Do you think anybody like really outside that sphere need to know what UK Special Forces are doing in other parts of the world? I would say most of the politicians don't need to know what British Special Forces are doing. Do we need to know what the security forces are doing? No, absolutely not. Generally, we should have a mission statement. UK Special Forces mission is to protect and promote British assets. Protect and promote, well, probably not promote. That would be like the Foreign Office. To protect British overseas assets, or something like that. We don't need to know a lot of this stuff. But the problem is, the window of suppression is just so big. That window of suppression is just so big, guys. It's unbelievable. So now it's getting to a stage where I kind of want to know how many migrants are getting arrested and for what crimes. Like, I want to know that. DMarie Gen X. Oh, hang on. Yeah, UK veterans are saying, be careful, they will restrict you under the Online Safety Act. I'm surprised I'm not gone already, guys. UK veterans are saying, Keir Starmer couldn't lead a inebriation session in a brewery. DMarie Gen X is saying, from legal to health to education has been hijacked. Yeah, it has. Do you know what? That's a good way of putting it. We have a legal system that are just money grabbing, health system that is absolutely broken, an education system that I would say does not educate people. I'd say the education system it does educate people. I would say it depends what we mean by education. Certainly you do learn things at school, and you learn good things, but you don't really learn critical thinking. Loz Luxford is saying the government have spoken. As far as I'm concerned, we're on our own now. They won't help us. Chris is saying statue of Lady Justice needs taking down. And then Snowdrops is saying, GB News had the data on crimes being committed by illegals and what country they're from. I thought this was just the thing that was getting passed through government at the moment. I didn't think anybody actually had that information. And UK veterans is saying education system creates workers. Yeah, and we don't want workers. We need innovators, guys. We need innovators. April Lee saying we have to do critical thinking. It's a part of D&T national curriculum. Okay. Snowdrops is saying it was on the other day, right? Okay, if it was released like a couple of days ago, guys, I have been traveling. I've been looking for a place to live. I've been looking for a second. I've been looking for a second home. I felt like Joseph. I felt like Joseph and his donkey. I was like singing Little Donkey to myself. I love Little Donkey, guys. Isn't Little Donkey the best? Isn't Little Donkey the best song that you've ever heard. I love the Little Donkey, guys. I love the Little Donkey. Little donkey, little donkey. I love Little Donkey. Right, Jane Taylor on YouTube just jumped up and she's saying that info thing goes back over decades, doesn't it? They make it visible. What economic oligarch is evil. All there to read about. Maybe someone knows what I'm ranting about. Can't give proper reference. Jane Taylor. I think what Jane Taylor is talking about there is, I think what she's saying is the information potentially, and I don't know what this information is. The information that was released by GB News may have been old information, because I'm pretty sure that the information is going through Parliament at the moment. I might be wrong on that, guys. Please, somebody correct me. Matt on YouTube is saying the UK government doesn't know what a woman is. These people on boats with beards could be women. Do you know what, Matt? Yeah, fantastic. So these people that are coming on boats, they may identify as women. So when they come over on the boats, they may say, "No, actually, I'm actually a woman. I'm actually a woman." Hello, Akbar. You know, that's what they may be saying. I come over and I'm a woman. Maxine Cooper is saying, if a fire breaks out in Flintshire, we have no water. Very scary. Yeah, there's a lot of places, guys. I'm getting a lot of reports coming in, and people are telling me they're out of water and they've been out of water for days. I don't know how I don't know how widespread this is, but I certainly know it's happening. I certainly know people are without water in the UK right now. Right, a lot of people are laughing. Why are people laughing? Why are you guys laughing? Do you not like my Little Donkey? Guys, Little Donkey is the best. For me, Little Donkey is the best Christmas song. Do you know what? It's probably one of the most fantastic. Probably one of the most fantastic songs ever written. Little Donkey. I love it. Everybody knows I love the Little Donkey. I actually sing Christmas dinner when the Ravens are sat down for Christmas dinner. Everybody's sat there. I'll stand up and I'll have my port and I'll say, right, guys, you know, Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas. We'll all have a little thing. I'll say, right, time for the Christmas song. And I will sing Little Donkey in its entirety, guys. I will sing Little Donkey in its entirety. Like, the kids think it's a bit weird and awkward. Not me, guys. I will sing Little Donkey before anyone eats their Christmas dinner. You're not allowed to eat anything. Christmas is not Christmas without me singing Little Donkey. And then, you know, after I've done Little Donkey, couple more toasts around the table, a little bit of food. After everybody's had their mains, we're waiting for his dessert to come. I will then sing my second favorite Christmas song, which is Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. I'll sing that, guys. I'll sing Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. My version a cappella. UK Veterans is saying, are you practicing for Britain's Got Talent? Donkey in Shrek is the best. Lots of people laughing, guys. Lots of funny faces. Dodsbra is saying, can't wait till winter. Get rid of the summer carnage already. I'm not seeing the capacity there where I thought it would be, guys. I'm not seeing the capacity in this summer of carnage that I predicted. I don't know. I don't think we've had that catalyst yet. I think we've avoided it a few times. We have avoided the catalyst a few times, guys. You know, we had the incident of the copycat. You know, the copycat who was thwarted. The copycat. We had the copycat that was thwarted. Now that was due to start on the day I said it would start. He was planning an attack on the Oasis concert. He was planning a copycat attack, and this guy, he had pictures of a girls' dance group on his phone and routes to and from it. He'd ordered the said sharp implement from online. we've also had, look, guys, and let's be clear, and I'll talk about this more when I jump over to YouTube in a second. Let's be clear. I think we narrowly avoided an incident with this migrant walking into this person's house. I really do, guys. You know, the migrant that went into the if there's anyone who's got another theory on this, guys, please let me know. So I think we narrowly avoided another incident whereby this migrant, he walks into someone's house and he's chased out by this girl who's 22, who's now arrested. She's now arrested. Yeah, she's arrested, guys. She's the one in jail. That gentleman, as I understand it, was trying to get into houses previously, and later that night he got arrested for common assault. So how often is this happening, guys? Like, how often is this happening? I believe right now, guys, if that girl hadn't have been there, the 22-year-old girl, I believe if she hadn't have been there right now, there'd be white tents outside that house. You guys know what I'm talking about. Dodsbra is saying, what type of event do you think would be needed for a full summer of carnage? I think at this point, I think we narrowly averted it just then. An event where, like, said migrant follows said lady into house, event happens in the house. Look, guys, I'm so I mean, it's wild, isn't it? It's wild. Just say this to yourselves right now, guys, all right? Say this to yourself right now. I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. This is not a parody. What I'm telling you now, as I understand it to the best of my ability, is the truth, all right? This migrant walked into a lady's house. He was chased out by a 22-year-old girl. That 22-year-old girl has now been arrested. And as I understand it, the two gentlemen who restrained him, they've been arrested again. So they arrested this guy. So that happened. They arrested anybody who hurt the migrant, let the migrant go. Then later on that night, that same migrant got arrested for common assault. That's real. That is real. That is real, guys. All right. That is real. That really happened, guys. All right. So that is a real scenario that happened in the UK. I think we are so close to one of them going wrong. Like, what if that girl hadn't have been there? What if that 22-year-old girl hadn't have been there to chase him out? What if he'd have got into a house and the mum and dad had have just gone out? Oh, right. You two. I don't know. April and D. They're the two names I'm saying. April and D, they're the kids, all right? April, D. Right, you girls just play there. I'm just going to nip to the shop. I'm going to be 15 minutes. What if it had happened then? Can you see what I'm talking about now, guys? Can you see how bad these things could have been? And I honestly, guys, I think we're so close to one of those things happening right now. We're so close to one of those things happening. I think we've avoided two already in the UK. Sharon Owen is saying, if there's anything in the world I need to see, it's your kids' faces when you sing. Well, it's not just the kids, it's the nephews as well. It's my sister and her husband. And yeah, I get the whole family round. Guys, I'll do Little Donkey and I'll tell everybody with 100% serious face how important the Little Donkey is. People kind of pay lip service to the Little Donkey. They think like the nativity is all about Mary, Joseph and baby Jesus, which it is. But we need to understand the logistics chain here, guys. Without the Little Donkey, none of that would have happened. D. Marie Gen X is saying, right, okay. So D. Marie Jex is saying, and she didn't even get bail. As I understand, that is the lady who, the lady who chased them, just listen to what we're saying. Listen to what we're saying, and it's totally normal. What did she chase him with? I believe it was a cooking implement that I can't talk about on TikTok. Right, guys, I am on TikTok. I'm going to jump over to YouTube in a second. Lols Luxford is saying, yes, I agree. Yeah, it's bonkers. D. Marie Gen X is saying, I raise the drinks fridge, Sean, and then get April steaming. Sean, I just did a karaoke on live. Right, Google it. Hang on. Right, Google it. Can you send me an inbox, mate? And we will do a live stream together, like later on today. It'll have to be after 12. But Google, if you send me an inbox, mate, we'll do a live stream, or we'll do a joint live stream, or whatever it is you want. And we'll do that. We'll do that later on today, if that works for you, mate. Or we'll identify a time when you can do it, and I'll try and fit around you. Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the news of the day. The headlines are Trump Putin peace negotiations. Trump Putin peace talks have left with no peace talks. So what really happened there? What was happening behind the scenes? Look, guys, there's a little there's a little mosquito or something in here. So what happened behind the scenes? You've got to understand, guys, I'm going to run through this quick, and then I'm going to jump over to YouTube, guys. I will be jumping over to YouTube in the next couple of minutes. So if you've not done so, guys, please follow us on YouTube. Please follow us on X. Follow us on TikTok. If you've not done so, guys, hit those buttons. I believe they're up here somewhere if you're on TikTok, down below if you're watching on YouTube, because we're live streaming. We're going to be live streaming every day, I hope, from now on until the end of the 6 weeks holiday. I may be going to a protest later if I can find one, or I may be sitting here and covering everything from the comfort of my own home. So the Trump-Putin summit, Alaska 25. Look, lots of people talking about lots of different stuff. What people are missing is the main thing. You don't go to these summits if you don't understand the outcome. So behind the scenes, there'll be people on both sides. There'll be people close to Trump, people close to Putin, and those guys can talk freely. And they've probably been talking freely for weeks and months. And then they'll be relaying messages back to Putin, relaying messages back to Trump. And they'll be phoning Trump up and saying, Donald, mate, yeah, Putin says this. Oh, right, okay, well, tell him this. And then he's saying, Vladimir, Donald Trump was not acceptable for this. And he wishes to... Okay, yeah, right, okay. So what was he saying now? And that will be happening behind the scenes before they even go to this meeting. So if they're saying this is like a peace summit or something, or they're going to have a peace summit, or they're going to stop the war, and it doesn't happen, that means it was never going to happen, because those guys behind the scenes won't have agreed on everything. So the real question is here, and I don't know the answer. So the real question here is, what was really discussed at that summit? What was really discussed when those people left the room, and who were the attaches, the advisors behind the scenes that were talking? I would speculate, and this is my own analysis, I would speculate that the real purpose of that meeting was to potentially carve up Ukraine in the context of saying, right, don't go any further than the River Dnipro, or say, right, you guys don't get involved in the Middle East, and we won't get involved in Ukraine. I think something like that has been said. Or do you know what, guys? Maybe even both. Right, I'm going to jump over to the Google is saying, can you handle an alien voice? Of course I can handle an alien voice, Google it. UK Veterans is saying, is Trump going to bully Zelensky again on Monday? Let me just quickly weigh in on this, guys. So, can you remember that the Trump Zelensky meeting where JD Vance is saying, you got to try diplomacy, man. We got to try diplomacy. And Donald Trump saying, I've empowered you to be a tough guy, but you don't have the cards. You don't have the cards. We've empowered you to be a tough guy. And like Zelensky, look, guys, I've been quite critical of Zelensky. Zelensky is saying, "What do you mean, JD? What do you mean? What do you mean diplomacy? I tried 27 times to have diplomacy with Putin. He signed agreement and not honor those agreements." Like, looking back now, like, there's no way you can deny it. Zelensky was 100% right. And the problems to all these problems are Westerners are looking at these problems with Western eyes. You can't look at these problems with Western eyes, guys. You've got to put these. You've got to look at these problems with Eastern eyes, I guess. Soviet eyes, maybe. Certainly Slavic eyes. Right, guys, I am jumping over, guys. I'm going to jump over now to YouTube. If you've not followed me already, please go and follow on YouTube. The Real Raven One on YouTube. We'll be over there live streaming for a little bit on YouTube, and then we will be going. But ladies and gentlemen, the crux of this video is the Peace Summit in Alaska 25 didn't have any peace deal. So what was the real reason for that? That I don't know, but behind the scenes there will have been a real reason. All it can mean is the war is going to continue. Civil war in the United Kingdom, guys. It probably won't be called a civil war. I can't think what it will be called, but you're going to have another word for it. Like, the powder keg is lit. I think we narrowly escaped an incident with this migrant going into this blind woman's house. If that 22-year-old girl was not there to chase that guy out, I think there'd be white forensic tents all over that area right now. Keir Starmer would be donating millions of pounds to protect the migrant hotels, and we'd all be thinking, just make it stop. It's only a matter of time, guys. It's only a matter of time. Don't let it be you. And the Red Heifer. Guys, there's reports out that the Red Heifer ceremony is complete. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump off this now. I'm going to go over to YouTube, and I'll see you there. The Real Raven One on YouTube. Are we off? Are we off? We are off. We are off. Right, we are off. Somebody just subscribed there at the last minute. Oh, I feel like a douche because I didn't say thank you. Literally, as soon as I went off, somebody subscribed. Whoever, if you just subscribed on TikTok, thank you. Whoever it was, I can't see because it literally just popped up as I left. But thank you. Whoever just subscribed last minute on TikTok, thank you so much. Right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are just streaming now on YouTube. We're streaming exclusively on YouTube, so I can give I can talk a little bit more open now about things that are happening. So this Putin, and let's talk about Putin and the Putin meeting. Behind the scenes, first of all, nobody goes to these meetings without it already being agreed anyway. It just doesn't happen. It makes no point. You're not going to go to one of these meetings and argue. You want to get everything sorted out before you even go. And this always happens, guys, right? I've never been to one of these meetings where the outcome's not agreed. The outcome's always agreed. And then what you do is you plan for the next meeting. So you say, right, okay, so so Vladimir says, we're not giving up any land and we're going to continue the war. Donald Trump says, right, okay, that's fine. We're going to continue selling weapons to the European Union. And then the European Union can give them to Ukraine. That something like that will have been agreed. But what my question mark is, what's happened? What was really said behind the scenes when you get all these people into the room? So these guys will be planning things that happen in 6, 8, 12 months time. And when you talk about these things, you shake hands on that. That's what happens. So all these people who think that these contracts are written and and the politicians are in charge, if they've already agreed to this, in principle, it happens, and it kind of has to happen. Otherwise, you lose trust in these people. You know, you lose trust on the other side. I'm not saying it always happens. What I'm saying is a lot of things will have been happening behind the scenes in this Trump-Putin negotiation that we won't know about. And it's pretty clear that it wasn't a peace summit, because there's been no. And remember, when we talk about a ceasefire doesn't mean the war is ending. All it means is there's going to be a ceasefire. And I can remember that, like, and it's all well and good saying there's a ceasefire, but if there's not a ceasefire on the ground, it's not a ceasefire. Now, I can remember the first Minsk agreement. It was, the second Minsk 2. So the Minsk 2 ceasefire deal, or whatever it was, in Ukraine, nobody. And look, guys, I was there. I was like driving around trying to like figure out what was happening. Neither side adhered to the Minsk agreements. Both sides were firing. Both sides were continually shelling. One of the problems was, and I think this still goes on, but maybe to a lesser extent, one of the problems was both sides, so both Russian and Ukrainian sides, had open Facebook groups where they could talk to closed private Facebook groups where they could talk to each other. So they would talk to each other and they would say, the international observers are here. So OSCE provided international observers, so they would go around and they would try and find out who was shelling who and when. It was very difficult. So one of the things people would do is, on both sides, they would say, hey guys, we've got international observers with us. So in that region, nobody would shell. The shelling would come from somewhere else. So then it becomes very difficult to identify who's doing what and when. Really difficult, guys. It's an absolute problem. So I would say, in fact, let me get some coffee. Because I can drink coffee now. I can drink my I'm allowed to drink my coffee now. I'm allowed to drink my coffee now on the live stream because I'm not on TikTok. That's how restrictive TikTok is, guys. It doesn't let me drink my coffee. So that's what was happening the last time. So even if Putin, Zelensky, let's be fair, guys, all right? They're the only two people who can agree on a ceasefire. If both of those sides say, yes, we're going to have a ceasefire, that needs to actually happen on the front line. And if somebody fires at somebody, then somebody's going to get fired back at someone. And right now, you've got so much capacity on the front line of Ukraine. It's huge. It's almost impossible to stop. It's almost impossible to stop. Right, Alex Robson is saying, what is the Red Heifer? So the Red Heifer, guys. So the Red Heifer. Right, okay. So the Red Heifer is supposed to be a beautiful cow. It's supposed to be an unblemished cow. Now, this cow has to be sacrificed in a certain way and burned, and then you use the ashes to purify the tools or the people or the priests or something to build Solomon's third temple. Now, for those of you guys who understand about biblical scripture and biblical text, the Red Heifer is Solomon's temple will bring in the Antichrist. So when Solomon's third temple is, and look, guys, if anybody wants to correct me on this, I don't claim to be an expert. I'm giving you guys as I understand it. So when Solomon's third temple is built, that's going to bring in the Antichrist, and it's also going to bring in the second coming of Jesus, I guess. Now, the location of Solomon, what's key about this in the Muslim world? What's key about this Solomon's temple? It's supposed to be built on the location where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is. Now, the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, it's a massive holy place for Muslims. So this thing needs to be taken down before the new third temple can be built. You can imagine how the people in the Muslim world are gonna go absolutely bonkers if the Al-Aqsa Mosque is taken down to build a new temple. So that's the significance, sorry, of the Red Heifer. April Lee saying, Sean, you're the only person I've subscribed to. Thank you so much, April Lee. Freddie is saying, check out my live for a second. I will, Freddie, I will. Let me get the comments. D. Marie Gen X is saying, no doubt he's told Putin not to back Iran because I think that's yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what's gonna. Yeah, I think that's will be what's happening behind the scenes. They will say something like, yeah, Poots, don't get involved in Iran, and we won't get. And I've said this all the time. You know, Poots, don't get involved with in Iran, and we won't get involved in Ukraine. I do think that's what's happened, or what was said behind the scenes. Christine Chambers saying, question, Sean, biolabs, child trafficking in Ukraine, the war was started in 2014. Yes, the war was started in 2014. I agree. About the biolabs and the child trafficking, I genuinely don't know. I've heard this a lot. I've tried to dig into it. I just nobody I know in Ukraine knows about it. But the level that would be done would be a lot higher, and I wouldn't be privy to any biolabs. I just don't know people who would know that sort of stuff. I guess you'd be looking at like medical, I don't know, doctors or something like that. I don't know. I do know there were a lot of salt mines by Solidaire. Sorry, yeah, I do know there was a lot of salt mines by Solidaire, and there was an unusual amount of fighting around that area. So I can genuinely see a scenario whereby there are potentially biolabs in and around Solidaire because of the salt mines, because you can regulate the humidity. But the reality is, guys, I've got no information on that. You know, I do know that the Russians were taking lots of children out of Ukraine. But again, it's like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm saying I don't know. Oh, and D. Marie Gen X is saying the third temple, flags are up everywhere already. Matt is saying, is violence the answer? The government uses violence and takes people away against their will. Should the public follow in the government's footstep as the government is setting on example? I mean, ultimately, guys, the only thing the government have is the monopoly on hang on, guys, give me a second. I need to respond to this. The only thing that the government have is the monopoly on violence. So, like, for example, if you don't pay your council tax, you'll get a reminder, you'll get a CCJ, and then you'll get, maybe you won't, I don't know, but basically bailiffs you'll get a CCJ, and then you'll get bailiffs sent out to come and confiscate stuff. Now, if you tell those bailiffs to go away, you will then get those bailiffs come back with the police. And if you still refuse to comply, they will take that by force. So that's the only way that the police are the only people, and that's all the government have really. They have monopolized violence ultimately, and they're controlled by violence. And they say they don't, but ultimately, if you don't pay your bills, you will be enforced with violence. Tell me how it's not so. And I think this comes back to what I was saying earlier. The police are clearly not protecting us, but they're not letting us protect ourselves as well. So it's a really strange conundrum we're in at the moment. Remember, in America, they have the Second Amendment. And in the Second Amendment, you know, it says something words to the effect of that a well-trained militia is imperative for a free state. And guys, that is absolutely true, because we have no one like, just answer me this question real quick. I know this is unlikely. Well, maybe it's not unlikely. Let's just say that the government, and this is going to be wild, guys, all right? let's just say that the government passed the law that every firstborn child had to be thrown into a pit of fire. Let's just say that, guys. Let's just say that. I'd be in because I'm the firstborn. Let's just say that, right? Let's just say every firstborn child, the government pass a law, and it gets, and it gets ticked in the boxes. The government pass a law that, I know this is wild, but guys, but you see where I'm going. The government pass a law that every firstborn child has to be thrown into a pit of fire on, I don't know, on a certain day of the week. Okay. Legally, we have to comply. Legally, we would have to comply with that. There's no mechanism in the UK for people to say, no, I'm not doing that. You'd have to go through, I mean, how would you resist that? I mean, you have to go back to the Rights of Man Act. I think it's I might be wrong. I think it's Article 2 of the Rights of Man Act, which is a French document. So the rights of man is that every man has the right to freedom and to oppose tyranny. But that's not even relevant in the United Kingdom. We have nothing. We have nothing in the UK. We have no legal framework that would legally give us the right. For example, like I said, if it was every firstborn's child had to be thrown into the pit of fire, there'd be no way we could oppose that. We would just have to let it happen. We'd say, yeah, that's it now. That's it now. Get them in. There's no legal route that we can do that. We can oppose. Right, Freddie is saying, right, Google, let me just look at your live. Right, did you send it? Have you sent it me, Googly? Googly, I'm struggling to multitask. Ah, right, hang on. Oh, God. Googly, you're doing it as an alien. Right, okay. Christine Chambers is saying, who is the Antichrist, Sean? I think it's AI. I do. I think it's AI. I think we're all going to be hooked into AI and it's going to be controlling everything. It's going to be running everything. I do think that is what it is. Dub is saying no legal route. That near law would not be considered legal. So what would have... It's called absolute anarchy. Right, hang on a minute. Dub is saying... No legal route. No legal route. That near law would not be considered legal. So what you would have is called absolute anarchy. I think what Dub is saying there is, I don't actually know what you're saying, Dub. I think what Dub's argument here is that if that new law was considered legal, you'd have anarchy. Yes, you would, but the law would still be the law. And there's no legal way. There's no legal way that here in the UK we can oppose a law that we don't like. If it gets passed, it gets passed, and that is it. Jane Taylor is saying Britain is poised to put boots on the ground within a week of ceasefire being declared. The Telegraph understands. Plans have been made for hundreds of British trainers and look, guys, look, it was always the case for this to happen. It was always the case. How many times have I said this, guys? Okay, how many times have I said this? Britain will lead the way in Ukraine. I've always said that. Literally, you can go, and I've said in 2025 as well, you can literally go back through my videos and I've not changed my tune, guys. I've been saying the exact same thing. Right? Britain's going to lead in Ukraine and the Americans are going to be going into the Middle East. That's what I've always said. But then the Americans are going to go into the Middle East, and they're not going to break their saw, and then they're going to come together, and then there's going to be a potential war with China. There will be a war with China. Dub is saying the new law is not valid. No. Dub, if a law gets passed, it is valid, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get. Like, if a new law is passed, then it becomes valid, and there's nothing you can do. So if the government in the UK said, right, we're passing a new law. So if the government said if the government in the UK said we're passing a new law, and I know this sounds absurd, and we're going to get everybody's firstborn child, we're going to throw them into a burning fire, that's the new law. There's no legal way we could oppose that. There isn't, guys. There is no legal system that we can oppose this. Right, Christine is saying, are people in hotels? I think she means UN soldiers here. Okay, so I don't think so. It depends what we mean by UN soldiers. First of all, what is a UN soldier? A United Nations soldier? I know where this is coming from. Rumors are out that these people have been brought in and they're being armed. It's an army being brought in. When this started to get floated around, people sharing it online, I was curious. I was like, no, guys, that's not the case. Right now, if you look at the things around it, the people being flown in from Afghanistan secretly, literally secretly, the government were flying people in from Afghanistan, putting them in hotels, putting them in houses, actually. The government, and I started talking about this when I started talking about the life jackets. The government you guys have seen the video. The government are helping act. I don't know any way you can say this. The government, it appears to me, are actively helping the smuggling gangs by sending them the rubber dinghies back and sending them the life jackets back. So you've got government complicity here. There's no way around that. I don't think there's any evidence to prove otherwise. So now you start to look at all these contributing factors. And I did say, I used to say, I think it's highly unlikely to a point of non-discussion. But right now, guys, I'm going to say I don't know. And Dub is saying, at that time, you will be stupid not to realize your government has been overthrown. Right, Dub, yes, I agree, but I think you're missing the point. I think you're missing the point here, Dub. So I gave you guys a crazy example, right? And the example was that if a law was passed in the UK, that everybody's firstborn child had to be thrown into a pit of fire, and that's just how we roll in the UK now. That's the law. There's no legal way for us to oppose that, and there isn't. And I gave an extreme example. So let's just reel it back in again. Let's just reel it back in a bit, because Dub's saying at that time you'll be stupid not to realize your government has been overthrown. Okay, so what if the government impose a law to say that every child on birth has to be microchipped in their right hand? Would that be, what would you do with that? Would that cause anarchy? Okay, let's forget that. Let's go one back from that. Right, okay. Everybody in the UK, you all have to have a digital ID. It's law. Like, you see where I'm going with this? There's no way that we can oppose laws. And I know that is a wild law and it's crazy and it is. But what I'm getting at here is we have no way of opposing the legal system in the UK. In America, they have the Second Amendment. Here we have nothing. Yeah, I know, Christine. I know, Christine. Kirsty Taylor is saying, do you think the government are going to put the migrants into Ukraine? I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I don't know. I initially thought that answer was a yes, whereby, and I still think that is going to be the way, whereby you have a time of recruitment. So people are recruiting, people do military recruitment. Then so the military in the UK would do recruitment, and you're seeing this now. I actually said, and it's happened, I said you'd start to see an uptick in military recruitment videos, and this is happening. And I said you'd start to see that in mid-June, and you did it. Right on key, guys. Right on key, that happened. But then after you've recruited as many people as you want willingly, you then want to start to get the people that are unwilling, because there's a way you use, tactically, there's a way that you use conscripts, and there's a way you use professional soldiers. Totally different tactics, guys. Totally different tactics. With motivated professional soldiers, they can come together to be more than, to become greater than the sum of their own parts. When you're using conscripts, when you're using people who are not motivated, it's kind of different to use that. So I do think there's the potential, yes, and yes. So I'm going to say yes, and it may be the context that these people give up their service for citizenship or something like that. Give service for citizenship. Right, Lisa Jane is saying, Sean, do you think the 30th of September protest with London is vulnerable of things going bang? I'm going to say, well, obviously everywhere is vulnerable, but normally at these big things, the big things are normally well policed. I think the places that are vulnerable are the places that nobody's talking about. Right, Dub. Dub, I think you're missing the point here. I think you're missing the point. Okay, Dub, what I'm saying is, okay, right. What about the Online Safety Act then? Dub, what about the Online Safety Act? Do you think now it's illegal for people to share certain things online, and for social media platforms to share things and not self-censor? Do you think that is a good law? Because I know I'm giving wild examples, but it's this little tiptoe where they just take a little bit at a time, and before you know it, you've lost everything, and nobody's rose up because it happened so slow. Christine Chambers is saying, what alarm by the UK government on the 7th? I don't know. Give me a second. 7th of September. Right, okay, so this is a national emergency test alert on Sunday, the 7th of September. Yeah, it's just the thing that they're testing. Just that they can get that out to people's phones. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. I'll be back on later today, guys. I'll be back on later today. I don't know, Googly. I don't know if Googly, if you want to come on and do a joint live stream or something. And if anybody does want to come on and do a joint live stream or whatever, or you want to debate me, I'm absolutely fine with that, guys. Right? But you've got to send me an inbox first, and we've got to know what we're talking about. I've done it before, and I've clicked the button and let people on, and it's I don't know, some people in India somewhere, and nobody knows what's happening, and it's just a bit awkward. And I'm all for those awkward silences, guys. I love a good awkward silence at a dinner. But equally, I could click that button, and if I don't know you and I don't know what we're supposed to be talking about, it could all go wrong, and then I'll get more restrictions on my page, and it'll just be a nightmare, guys, for everyone. And nobody needs that. Right, let me just, yeah, I think we're good. I think we are good, ladies and gentlemen. But look, guys, okay, remember the direction of travel. Remember the direction of travel, okay, guys? The United Kingdom, and you can literally go back through my videos for the last 2 years. Britain is going to be leading this coalition of the willing in Europe, because Britain has not because Britain has the biggest or the best army. And again, what do we mean by the best army? Britain have the most capable, the most potent strike capacity and force projection. What that means is nowhere else in Europe can force project, as in, right, those are the bad guys over there, going quickly with helicopters, with whatever, get out, do the business, and then make sure that area is secure. Britain does that better than anyone else. What Britain does not have is we don't have the artillery. We don't have the, we don't have the heavy armor. We don't have the ability to hold that ground, because holding and taking ground are totally different, guys, right? They're totally different. To hold ground, you need heavy tanks, you need heavy logistics, you need stuff. And Britain just doesn't have that. Poland does. So when you're looking at this new European army, Britain does look like it's going to act as the special forces and the lead element of that. But anyway, guys, we'll be talking about more about that later, and I will see you guys later.